everyone, I'm Gersh, and this is another episode of Going Beyond the Surface. What if I told you that the wait you are in right now is not wasting your time, but building everything you've been praying for? If you're watching this video, you're probably in a waiting season right now, and I know exactly how that feels because I'm in the waiting season as well. In all of my almost 50 years on earth, I have had to wait many times before I saw the answer to prayer, before I saw a breakthrough. I had to wait and wait some more. And right now, I'm in another waiting period. But this time, I decided to do something different. I decided to observe what happens in the waiting. And what I discovered changed everything. Again, on the left-hand side of me, I have a script. I'm reading from that script. So I do preparation, create a script, write all my thoughts down. That's basically it. The script is just writing all of my thoughts and then reading it because I find that easier. And it gives us structure, it gives us coherency, and it will logically flow. You see, it is in the waiting that so much takes place. If we do not grow weary, if we not wait in complaint and negativity, but in trust that the waiting is producing in us what we need to grow and develop as a person. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint." Wait on the Lord. Not just wait, but wait on Him. There's a purpose in it. So your waiting is not wasted. It's preparation. During waiting periods, things are quiet. Often you find that what excited you no longer does, or what kept you occupied or motivated you no longer feels the same. And that can be scary because, again, what is familiar is no longer satisfying. You have the opportunity to see yourself because no other options present themselves. That's very important. It's in the quietness, it's in the waiting periods when you are digging deeper, you realize so much more of yourself. Very often you might even realize that you're quite resilient. And until these situations present themselves, you would not know that about you. So in a way, you're forced to make sense of the situation in the waiting. It is here where everything in us that needs to be shaped, changed, and grow takes place. It is able to present itself in the quietness and stillness of the waiting. Psalm 46:10 tells us this. "Be still and know that I'm God." Be still. In the stillness, He is working. Remember, if you do not see something materializing in the external, it doesn't mean that it's not happening or that nothing is taking place. Sometimes the growth and what needs to be taken or what needs to take place is the internalization of these changes that you're going through. But in chaos, we cannot see that. But when we wait upon the Lord, that is when it's easier to identify what's happening to us in the stillness, in the quietness, in the moments of digging deeper, that you realize God is working in you and through you. So while you think, why all the waiting, or why does it seem like a waste of time, the most profound work is taking place. we allow the Lord to work with us in the stillness of the waiting. Now I'm not going to lie to you and say that, if you pray and you wait and you trust in God and it's going to be easy. It's not. It really is not. And so if there are people out there who are waiting just like me, I want you to know, I know how difficult it is, especially when there's uncertainty, because you often cannot see it unless you have gone through it many times, or if you view it through hindsight. That's what also makes the waiting very difficult. You don't realize what's happening unless you truly make a conscientious decision that you're going to observe it. And most often you realize what took place on hindsight, not while you're in the waiting. Trust me, I've been there more times than I can count, and every single time I look back and I see it. I see what God was doing. I see why it took so long to materialize, for me to see the breakthrough. Romans 8:28 reminds us that all things work together for good to them who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. All things, even in the waiting, even in the silence, even the seasons that feel like nothing is happening, God is working. Trust that. Believe that. Have hope in that. Do not be afraid of the waiting. Allow the molding. Let what needs to surface, and deal with it to allow yourself to keep growing and move past it. Do not be afraid of the waiting when you see nothing happening externally. Like I said, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening internally. We are wired to see results on the outside. That's just how we are as humans. We want to see it, touch it, feel it. But during waiting periods, work is taking place on the inside. That's the reason you're not always able to see what you are going through. And that is difficult. And again, this is easier to identify on hindsight. James 1 verses 2-4 says, "My brethren, count all in joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." I used to find this verse a bit difficult to understand initially, when James is telling you to count it all joy when you're going through trials and tribulations. And when you are going through it, definitely, it's not joy. It's difficult, it's painful, it's frustrating. There are days you have no motivation. There's nothing that's inspiring you to keep going, especially when you cannot see it. So this verse can be difficult, but when you think of it, when you come through it, and when your faith is complete, the Bible promises that you will lack nothing. So at the end of all of that testing and all of the effort of putting in the faith, it's not baseless. It's going to produce something. And you will never be the same person, that I can guarantee you. Every time I waited, by the time I had the breakthrough, by the time I had what I had prayed for, I was never the same person. There was so much of internal growth that now, in a way, as painful as it is, I've learned to appreciate the waiting periods. I realize so much happens during this specific time in our walk with God, trying to align with our purpose and fulfill what we were put on this earth for. That the waiting is a very, very important season, and it needs to take place. So I suggest you embrace it rather than resisting it and fighting against it, because it'll just make the waiting even harder. Now let me give you some practical things you can do while you are in this waiting season that can help you. Because waiting doesn't mean being passive. That's the other difference. I am in a waiting period, but I'm not passive. I get up every day and do what's within my capacity, do what's required of me, that I believe the Lord is leading me to do during this time. And sometimes I don't want to do it because I want to see the things within the frame of what I am praying for. But now that I shifted that frame of what I think my life should look like and what I think I should have, I've realized that the waiting is going to produce much more. And even though I cannot see it, even though I'm living in uncertainty, I have peace that God is in control. He's in the driver's seat, and the pressure is not on me. First, journal your journey. Write down what you're feeling, what you're learning, what God is showing you. I promise you, when you look back at these entries months or years later, you'll see how His hand was all over your waiting season. I am a writer. I journal majority of the time in order to create these scripts to be giving you some knowledge on the waiting period. I have to write the script. I do some research. I then write the script. I'm writing electronically, so on Microsoft Word, I am not writing by hand. But when I do feel I need to truly understand something, I do write by hand. And when I journal, I write electronically using my notes on my phone, or I have small black books which I keep, I date them, and I write in them. One of the reasons I stopped writing in these little black books is because they were accumulating and I was moving around a lot. But my point is, find a way to journal that is most suitable to you. If you are somebody who doesn't like to write, I would suggest recording your voice on your voice memos or on a portable recorder or even on your phone. Record it so you can go back and listen to it, especially when you're in another waiting season. Those notes, that journaling will come in handy. Trust me. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom. Use this time to gain wisdom and knowledge that will serve you in your next season. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm reading more. I've invested in some books. I'm trying to educate myself on areas that previously maybe I didn't have the time to dig deep into. So I'm trying to gain the knowledge and wisdom that I believe I will need for my next season. So while I'm waiting, I'm not wasting this period. Second, invest in yourself. Read that book you've been putting off. Take that course. Learn that skill. Develop yourself in the waiting. When your breakthrough comes, you want to be ready. Third, serve others while you wait. This is something that I never used to do. I used to be so consumed with my waiting and the fact that I'm not seeing anything externally in my early years, that the concept of going out and helping others was foreign. And sometimes we don't want to help others because we are not feeling good ourselves. So how do you go out there and help other people and edify and build up when you yourself are feeling really more low than high? Actually, I have realized that when you go out there and you try to help other people during your waiting seasons, it takes your mind off yourself, which is important. It helps you to get out of your own head. So you can volunteer, you can mentor someone, be present for a friend who needs you. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Keep sowing even when you can't see the harvest yet. But I would really, really suggest you go out and try to help in some other way. And if you're not really a people person and you prefer animals, you can also volunteer at an animal shelter. or take a dog for a walk, or take care of kittens for a day, or ride a horse, or spend some time in nature. There are different ways where you can volunteer your time. I would suggest choosing things that are suitable to you, that you are going to enjoy. Do not choose something that's going to stretch you and make you feel, or make your waiting period feel even more frustrating and difficult. Fourth, create a gratitude practice. I've heard this so many times. Be grateful for the things that you have. It's very difficult to get up and say thank you for the things that you have when you are going through a difficult period. But I suggest you don't do this with just feeling, that you do it because of principle, of thanking life for having you, thanking life for another day, thanking God for giving you the strength through another day, the grace through another day, for providing your needs for that day. Thank Him for the little things. Sometimes we have to be trusted with the little in order to see the bigger. So being grateful is really about thanking Him for just about everything in your life. So there's enough to be grateful for even when things are not going your way and you are in a waiting season. Fourth, every single day write down 3 things you're grateful for. This shifts your focus from what is missing to what's present. It trains your heart to see God's goodness even in the waiting, like I've just mentioned. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 tells us, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So just give thanks, even when you're not feeling like it. Sometimes I don't feel like it. In this waiting, and I'm in a waiting period for quite a few weeks now, sometimes I don't feel like giving thanks. And I think it's okay to say that. But majority of the time, I'm grateful for my life, and I do say thank you every single day for it. And fifth and last, stay connected to the community. Don't isolate yourself in the waiting. Stay in fellowship. Stay in church. Stay around people who can speak life into you when you can't speak it for yourself. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 10 says, 2 are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. When I say go to church, and if you're somebody who says that you don't go to church, but you have a faith in Christ, you have a faith in God, and you don't want to go into community because you don't feel like you want to associate with others, that's also understandable. But the reason I say go to community, and that community doesn't have to be church, it can also be like-minded people, like myself. I'm also in a waiting period, and I'm sharing my thoughts on this waiting period. You can be amongst people like this, who are sharing their thoughts, and you can talk to each other about this waiting period and help each other. And sometimes it's good to be in church, because in church I don't attend church regularly, because I do have my concerns about organized religion, but I have a faith in Jesus Christ, and there are times where I feel I need to be part of a collective. In other words, I want to be with other believers. I want to be in a place where we are worshiping together. I think there's power in that. I think when there are many people praying together, calling upon God, something magical happens there. Miracles are taking place. God is hearing. Things are moving. And again, even if you don't see it in the physical, I can trust me. There is work being done behind the scenes, and I believe that with all my heart. So if you are like me in a waiting season for new direction, new plans to take place, or whatever it may be, and it is taking longer than it should, do not rush it. Allow it to take its course and be open to learn what it is teaching you. Do not rush it, because you'll find yourself in the same place again. There was something I was being very I don't know, I was finding it very difficult to probably learn the concept, or I kept going back to something that I, as a person, thought that I had evolved from, or that I had moved on from. And what I realized is that the more I didn't move past it, I kept meeting it over and over again. You don't want that. You don't want to keep meeting the same thing over and over again. And the reason you will meet things over and over again is when you decide that you're not going to go through it. By learning what it needs to teach you, by healing from what it might show you, and truly going through it in the way that you should. And not just trying to rush through it either, because trust me, you will meet it again and again, and you don't want that. Because allow it to take its course and be open to learn what it is teaching you. And you will learn to appreciate the seasons of waiting. At almost 50, I can tell you, I am now appreciating these seasons of waiting. And yet, I did my best to avoid them when I was younger, and when I didn't understand what I do now. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. But at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because surely it will come." And it will come. And if the exact thing you're waiting for doesn't come, I can guarantee you one thing. What comes from trusting in God is even better. It will surely come, your breakthrough, your answer, your new season. It will come. But right now, in this waiting, something beautiful is being formed in you. So let me encourage you today, whatever you're waiting for, whoever you're becoming in the season, trust the process, trust His timing. Trust that nothing is being wasted. Every single day in the wait is building something in you that you're going to need for where you're going. The wait is not your enemy, it's your preparation. And when your moment comes, and it will come, you're going to look back and say, I understand now. I see why it took so long. I see what you were doing in all this time. Hold on, keep trusting, keep believing. Your season is coming, and it's going to be worth every single moment you have waited. If this message spoke to you today, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below telling me what you are waiting for. Let's encourage each other, because we are all in this together. I'll definitely see you in the next video. I hope this video helped you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Remember, your time is valuable. Thank you. See you in the next video.